Years ago, I worked on an animation with a fellow LightWave artist by the name of Kurt Larson called Will I Am. And it was a fun little Dr. Seuss style animation, and we did some pretty neat stuff in it. And I thought I'd share how we pulled off one of the elements that people ask all the time how we did it. They usually think that we used dynamics, but we actually used a really simple tool to use called Effector. Let's take a look at the clip, and then we'll come back and see how to set that up. So as the character was coming down the red pipe, the pipe was being displaced. It was deforming into kind of a spherical shape. So let's go ahead and set that up. I'm going to start by creating a disk. Okay, and make sure you have lots of segments. If you use the left arrow key, you can reduce segments. If you use the right arrow key, you can add segments. Okay, and we'll call that our tube. I'm going to go ahead and remove the top and bottom polygon and hit tab so that we can work with subpatches or subdivisional surfaces. And let's save that out. So save object as, and we'll call this tube 001, save, and we'll send this over to layout. So I've got my tube here, and now I need something to displace it. So let's make a null object, and we'll call this ball. And let's actually give it a ball shape. Okay, I'm going to take a look at how big that is. Now, it doesn't look like it's really filling up this area, so I'm going to go ahead and size this up just visually so that we can see. So Object, Properties, we'll come over to the Geometry tab, and under Item Shape Ball, double click, and for scale, let's try 4, and let's actually go to 5 so that it's bigger than the tube that we're working with here. So I can close that down, and I'm going to select the cylinder here, this tube, come over to the Deform tab, and under Add Displacement, I'm going to choose Effector. Double click, and the effector objects, what's going to be affecting it? Well, it's looking for the name, and by default it's Effector, but we called our null ball, and when I hit enter, it says tracking one effectors, because it only found one object starting with ball. Now if I had multiple nulls called ball 1, 2, 3, 4, it could find all of those as well. Okay, so we'll click OK, and what you see happening already is that half of our tube disappeared. If I select the null and move it, it's almost as if it's erasing the tube. Let's take a look and see why that might be. If I come back to my settings, the effector shape is a plane down the Y. I can make it down the Z, and it's flattening it down the Z, down the X, and I'm flattening it down the X. But what I really want is the effector shape to be a point. Okay? So now when I move, if I come back over here, and I change my, nothing happened because what I need to do is change my size to match the size of what I did visually. So I go back over to ball, and as I move this, it deforms the object. And it does it in real time. It's not using dynamics. It's just displacing the geometry. And it's a really fast way to have something neat like the character going through the tube. If I hit H for stretch, I can actually change the shape of that sphere to more of an oval shape, and of course that changes the shape of how it's going to displace it. So a really easy tool to work with. It's the Effector tool found under the Deform tab under Add Displacement.